Story 1. The Attic Secret. Summer days alone were a time for movies and relaxation. One afternoon, while lounging in the living room, I heard faint shuffling noises above me. My pulse quickened as I realized the sounds were coming from the attic, directly above the high ceiling. Lowering the TV volume, I strained to listen, the eerie shuffling becoming more pronounced. The attic was connected through my brother's closet, and though dread gripped me, curiosity compelled me to investigate. With a flashlight in hand, I ventured into the dim attic. The weak wooden floorboards creaked under my weight, and a sudden rustling against plastic sent a jolt of fear through me. My flashlight beam danced wildly, illuminating the sinister corners. "Hello?" I called out, my voice wavering. "Is anyone there?" The shuffling stopped abruptly. My heart pounded in the silence that followed. I took a step forward, and the floor creaked loudly. Suddenly I heard a whisper, almost too faint to discern. "Leave." Panic surged, and I retreated, slamming the door shut. My heart raced as I called my parents, my voice trembling. "Dad, there's something in the attic. I heard it whisper." When my dad arrived, he searched the attic, but found nothing. Relief washed over me, but the terror of those unseen noises and that chilling whisper lingered, a haunting reminder of the attic's dark secrets. Story 2. The Basement Intruder. One evening, the eerie calm of my house was shattered by my dog, Layla's frantic barking. The noise pulled me from my room, and I followed her downstairs, my pulse quickening with each step. Layla stood at the basement door, her barks fierce and unrelenting. She was in full attack mode, growling and scratching at the closed boiler room door. I hesitated, dread settling in my gut as I knocked, my voice barely steady. "Is anyone in there?" I called out, but the silence that followed was deafening. Determined to protect myself and my loyal companion, I dragged Layla upstairs and locked the basement door. My heart pounded as I waited for my dad to return. When he did, his expression turned grim as he noticed a ladder by the smashed basement window. Panic flared as he called the police. "The window's broken. Someone was definitely inside," he said, his voice tight with worry. The realization that an intruder had been lurking in the shadows just beyond that door left me shaken to the core. The haunting memory of Layla's desperate barks still echoes in my mind, a chilling reminder of how close I came to a night. The closet figure. Living with my dad meant spending many nights alone, and I often stayed up late watching movies. One particular night, I tried to sleep but found myself restless, lying awake in the darkness. Suddenly, I heard a toy fall over in my closet. the sound sharp and jarring in the stillness. My skin prickled with unease as the doorknob began to wiggle, finally unlocking with a soft click. Fear rooted me to my bed, and I pulled the covers over my head, hoping to hide from whatever was out there. Minutes stretched into an eternity, the silence oppressive. Gathering my courage, I peeked out from under the covers, and my heart stopped. A dark figure stood by my bed, looking down at me. "Who are you?" I croaked, my voice barely a whisper. The figure didn't respond. Terror seized my throat, and I screamed, pressing myself against the wall. The figure glanced out the window and then silently left the room. Trembling, I waited an hour before daring to move. When I finally ventured out, the front door was wide open. The horror of that shadowy figure lingers, a constant reminder of the night I wasn't as alone as I thought. Story 4. The Obsessive Neighbor. At 16, I had an unsettling neighbor named Joey, who seemed obsessed with me. His constant presence made my skin crawl, and I tried everything to deter him. One night alone at home, I felt my bed shift slightly. Peering underneath, I froze in horror. Joey was hiding there, his eyes wide and frantic. I screamed and bolted out of the room, racing to his house and pounding on the door. "Joey's in my room. Call the police," I shouted, my voice breaking with fear. His parents begged me not to call the police, but I was beyond reason. When the police arrived, they found Joey still in my room, along with disturbing photographs of me, some taken while I slept. The chilling reality that Joey had been secretly watching me all along left me feeling violated and terrified. The image of his twisted smile haunts my nightmares, a constant reminder of the night my safety was shattered. Story 5. The Watcher in the Woods. Living in the country meant solitude, and I often tanned in our yard. One sunny day, I noticed a man lurking in the woods, watching me. Unease settled in my stomach as he approached, asking for help with a broken water pump. "Sorry, I have to leave soon," I lied, my voice trembling. He disappeared into the trees, but hours later, retrieving my forgotten sunglasses, I saw him again, half hidden behind our shed. "What do you want?" I shouted, panic surging. He didn't answer, his eyes cold and calculating. I bolted inside, locking every door and window, my hands shaking. The police took down my description, but the fear remained. The memory of his eyes, cold and calculating, haunts. I never saw him again, but the terror of that encounter lingers, a constant shadow over my once peaceful sanctuary. So suppose. At 7 years old, staying with my grandma was a common treat. One day, she went on a long walk to the library, leaving me alone. The phone rang, and my childish curiosity got the better of me. Answering it, I spoke to a man who asked if I was home alone. Innocently, I said yes. An hour later, a knock at the door sent my heart racing. "I see you on the couch." The man called through the window, his face twisted with malice. I bolted to the guest bedroom, locking the door as he tried to break in. Moments later, my grandma's voice rang out, fierce and commanding. "Get away from my house," she shouted, her voice trembling with anger. The man fled, but the fear remained. My mom never trusted my grandma to watch me again, and the memory of that day still sends chills down my spine. The knowledge that a stranger could have taken me haunts my every step, a dark shadow over my childhood innocence. Shadow in the hallway. It was a chilly autumn evening, and my parents were out of town for the weekend. I was 17 and used to being home alone, but this time felt different. The house was eerily quiet, the wind outside making the trees sway ominously. I tried to focus on my homework, but the silence pressed down on me, making every little sound seem magnified. Around 9 p.m., I decided to take a break and watch some TV. I settled on the couch with a bowl of popcorn, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling that had been creeping up on me all evening. Just as I started to relax, I heard a faint thump coming from upstairs. I paused, straining to hear over the noise of the television. I muted the TV and listened. Thump, thump. It sounded like footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving across the second floor. My heart began to race. I told myself it was probably just the house settling, but deep down, I knew it was something more sinister. Grabbing my phone, I dialed my mom's number, but there was no answer. I then tried my dad, but he didn't pick up either. The footsteps continued, growing closer to the top of the stairs. I was frozen with fear, clutching the phone to my chest. Summoning all my courage, I decided to investigate. I picked up a baseball bat from the hall closet and crept up the stairs, my heart pounding in my ears. Each step felt like an eternity, the creaking of the stairs betraying my presence. When I reached the top, I stood still, listening. The footsteps had stopped. The hallway stretched out in front of me, bathed in eerie moonlight that cast long, creeping shadows. I flicked on the light, but it barely illuminated the darkness that seemed to cling to the corners. I moved towards my bedroom, the source of the noise. The door was ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning me inside. I pushed it open with the bat, my breath hitching as I peered into the room. It was empty, just as I had left it. I checked the closet and under the bed, but there was no sign of anything out of the ordinary. Letting out a shaky sigh, I turned to leave. That's when I saw it, a shadow moving in the hallway. It was tall and vaguely human-shaped, but it moved with an unnatural fluidity. Its outline seemed to blur and shift, like smoke coiling in the wind. A chill ran down my spine as I watched it glide towards me without a sound. I slammed my bedroom door shut, my hands trembling as I fumbled to lock it. The shadow stopped just outside, and I could hear a faint whispering, like a chorus of ghostly voices echoing in the dark. The doorknob began to turn slowly, and I backed away, gripping the bat so tightly my knuckles turned white. Who's there?" I shouted, my voice trembling. The whispering grew louder, more insistent, filling the air with a palpable dread. I pressed my back against the wall, my mind racing with fear and confusion. Suddenly, the whispering stopped and the doorknob stilled. The silence was deafening. After what felt like an eternity, I cautiously approached the door and pressed my ear against it. Nothing. I waited, my heart pounding, before finally mustering the courage to unlock the door. I swung it open, the bat raised and ready. The hallway was empty, the shadows receding as if nothing had ever been there. I didn't sleep at all that night. I stayed in my room with the lights on, the bat by my side, listening for any sign of the intruder. When my parents returned the next day, I told them everything. They reassured me it was just my imagination, but I knew what I had seen and heard. From that night on, I never felt truly alone in that house again. The memory of the shadowy figure haunted my dreams, and every creak and thump sent a chill down my spine. I never found out what it was, but the fear of that terrifying night stayed with me. A constant reminder that sometimes the darkness holds more than just shadows.